Hello, and welcome to The Art Will Not Be Changing, or as my Italian relatives would say, The Art, she's a no be changing, which is something that my uncle used to say to me all the time. You see, he was okay, I'm not going to get into that. Our music is by C Notes. Music by C Notes. That's his link tree in the little banner on the bottom there. C Notes is an incredibly cool person, a crazy talented beat maker and rapper. And if you want awesome music for your show or anything, contact C Notes. If you are if you're a rapper yourself, hip hop, man to see about beats. So, welcome to another episode 16. We're going to be talking about such a cool anthology tonight called PRISM, and we're going to get into what it's all about. But before that, I just wanted to let you know that Blood Valkyrie in Vegas is still, because I have not done my due diligence, is still on Kickstarter accepting late pledges. I'm going to bring it up here for you. The story of a young lady in 1973 who goes to a party that turns into a satanic blood orgy. And the only way that she can possibly survive is with the help of the Blood Valkyrie, who may be there to help her and may not. This has been a really big hit for us. We just had a con this weekend, and a bunch of people jumped on to get on this while they still could. We're going to print. I'll be sending out a notice this week. We're going to print this week, and it's a amazing and truly exciting and fun book. Are you looking for something deep and intellectual and psychological? This is not that. This is From Dusk to Dawn meets Hellraiser. This is nonstop brutal action. So definitely check that out. Also, check out Dirty Living. I'm actually going to refresh the page. Watch this. Boom, the cover changed. How cool is that? This is the cover to issue 2 of Dirty Living from Stephen Beccia and Ryan Santos with guest artist Jack Van Thomme, who you may see a little later in the show tonight. It is only $2.99 an issue. However, if you sign up right now, and it's only available for subscription on our website, if you sign up right now for $2.99, you'll get issues 1 and 2. Don't tell anybody, but that's kind of how this works. And then every 3 months, a new issue comes out. Every 3 months, $2.99. Issue 3 is coming out on July 6th, and it looks freaking amazing. So definitely check that out as well. So we've got some really cool stuff, fugitivepoems.com. And you can also get your copy of River, which is currently on fugitivepoems.com as well. But now, enough about me and the truly amazing, groundbreaking, shocking, high-level, unbelievable stuff that just pours out of my brain like it's nothing. Forget about me. We've got to talk to 2 other amazing creators. I'm going to bring to the stage now Celeste and Jack Van Thomme. I know there's been a lot of Jack, but
too much.
You actually have too much. I'm so excited about this. Celeste, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome. I'm really honored to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm noticing behind you. Do you do that? The painting of little figurines and stuff. I'm seeing art supplies behind you and.
Well, this is my office space. I do all my artwork in here, but I do paint some ceramics a little bit. But I do murals sometimes too. So I've got lots of stuff. This is actually all jewelry making stuff. Like these earrings. This is a drawing I did, and I made it into a charm.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me see that again.
This is the Medusa head.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I have it made into acrylic charms, and then I'll make them into earrings and stuff like that. So I do a little bit of everything.
Do you sell those?
Yeah, when I go to con conventions and like arts fairs and stuff like that, I'll sell those things.
So you are a human of many, many talents. This is
one thing. It's all art adjacent. So
All I can do is write. That doesn't translate to anything. I can't speak other languages. I only understand English. The language,
which is debatable, by the way.
Which is indeed debatable.
Says
I don't draw except for Ninja Turtles. It's amazing. So I'm always impressed when somebody's like, "Well, yeah, my talents lend to other areas." I'm like, "No, mine don't. If there's no keyboard, I've got nothing." Speaking of which, Jack, how are you?
I'm good. I saw a bunch of painting stuff. I am this close to all my miniature painting things. I just finished up. I got to show it off. A very beautiful Treebeard today.
Oh, cool.
He's just a cool little guy. For what purpose, you ask? Literally no purpose aside from Treebeard is a great little guy. So
absolutely, great big guy.
Yeah.
Jack is a huge Tolkien fan, and it's something that we bonded over, as I am as well. Though Jack's knowledge, I think, is encyclopedic.
It's diagnosable, I think they would say. Yeah, fine. Whatever.
Celeste, you have put together. So among the many things you do, you make comics. Are you more on the writing or the drawing end, or both?
I would definitely put myself in the both category. Mostly I draw and write my own stuff. I've actually been kind of in that realm for a long time, and I've just started to break out and work with writers to varying degrees of success. I'm a bit of a control freak, and I don't like being told what to do. So I am noticing that coming up a little bit in some of my interactions. I'm like, maybe I need to practice that a little bit. But yeah, I've always seen art as kind of connected to storytelling. So whether I'm doing a still illustration or a comic page or a storybook, there's always that storytelling aspect to it.
Absolutely. So again, I just write, but I come from a novel and short story background. So I had that control freak aspect too. Doing comics at first was sort of terrifying because you get the artist comes back to you like, I love what you wrote, and I thought we could do this with it. And I'm like, no thinking. Just what I wrote, And I discovered that this is a 2-player or 4-player game.
Yeah.
There's so much, people see your idea and they come up with so much cool stuff around it, and then you can jump back in as a writer and say, actually, if you're going to do that, why don't we make it do this? And it just builds it. So it took me a little bit, but I was able to get more. There's still some things that I write that you always have your darlings, which Andy Warhol said you should kill, and I'm like, no, not that panel, don't change that panel. But actually working with Jack is one of the people that I've worked with the most and the earliest. And Jack always has great ideas. He's really respectful to the script, but also throws in what he's thinking, and he discusses it, and he'll send me, versions of it. And it feels so cooperative. It's excellent. This is really cool. So you decided, I'm going to put an anthology together.
Yeah.
And what made you decide to do that?
Well, I've been thinking about doing an anthology for a while. I actually wanted to do something that was horror based. I wanted it to focus on like urban legends and like kind of like campfire stories. And I'd been kind of just keeping it on the back burner, thinking about it. But I was really moved to do something in about February of this year. I really just wanted to put something out there that was a bit meaningful. And since I had been floating around this idea of doing an anthology, I was like, well, why don't we do that? But do it with a more positive message. I had seen a lot of people run Kickstarter through the Comics Jam. I had been a part of a couple. I watched like Band of Bards do a couple over the years. So I was like, well, maybe this is something I could do and put together. And I approached a couple of my artist friends that are local to me and asked if they wanted to participate. 2 of them said yes. and I just felt like I wanted to have more voices involved. So I opened it up to submissions, and I got a lot more than I thought, we were going to. And it was so hard going through everything because there was a lot of really, really quality stuff. And we whittled it down to about 8 stories altogether. One of them is a short story. The rest are all sequential comic stories. And we just wanted to do something that focused on a more positive future than I think people were really thinking about right now. The mindset in January, February, I think, at least in my kind of circles, was a bit negative. People were really scared about a lot of different things. And I feel like that can be very motivating in life, where if you're afraid of something, that might motivate you to action. But if you're just surrounded by those negative emotions, you might also give up, like constant negative barrage. You're just like, okay, well, I'll just go to sleep and, wait it out. So I wanted to do something that was, more positive, and to think about what's the alternative to that. Instead of just saying like, oh, all this horrible stuff is happening, what are the positive things that could happen? And if you're talking to people just in conversation, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, that would never work because of this. And it's like, oh, I would love a world that's like this, but that'll never happen. It's like, well, let's throw all of that out the window. No naysaying. What's the most positive version of the world that you could imagine? And that was where the utopia for this anthology came from. Like, just the most radical, positive idea you can come forward for where we could go in the future. And I want you to write a story and draw a story about that. And then I wanted to collect it together. So if you are living in that negative moment, you can kind of page through something and be like, well,
yeah,
hope for. There is a more positive future to look forward to, especially in regards of like collecting the stories together and finding a through line, like things that repeat with all these different voices coming together. Because if you can find the common ground, and like, say most of the stories all had something environmental going on, like they wanted a more green friendly future. Well, if that's the common ground, where no matter where you're coming from, you're hoping for a more environmental future, why aren't we making those decisions? Why aren't we making those choices to move forward to that, and kind of have, a little bit of motivation in your back pocket to, be happy on a day-to-day basis, I guess.
So I got to tell you, I'm about to show the cover image, and everything you said is so beautifully represented in this cover image. Look at that. I mean, it's everything you're talking about. The name PRISM, Anthology of Tomorrow, this beautiful central image. That
Christian has said something to me, or if I'm interrupting him, I couldn't hear for the past minute and a half. So
I have not said anything to you yet.
Yes.
We talked.
I was concerned. I was like,
Celeste said
terrible.
Celeste said terrible things about you, but don't worry about it.
Honestly, that would be the nicest thing I've heard all day. So that's great. Whatever.
This cover embodies what you're talking about. In your press release, you talked about the radical idea of hope, and I think this is so beautiful. Who designed the cover?
I did.
Yeah, your art.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. It is. It is so inspiring. And I use that word. I don't like the word inspiring because I feel like it's overused. But this is here. It just inspires hope and positivity and goodness. I absolutely love it. We've got Kenneth Beardsley, the man himself, the man behind one of the coolest anthology projects. Oh, I can't reach it right now. Weird Stories. In the chat here, Kenneth, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. So glad you're here. Kenneth Beardsley is an incredible artist doing anthologies as well. He's doing something like the old DC Comics used to work. So I'd like to show a couple images from this, and we're going to start appropriately enough. Hold on. Oh gosh, I closed one. I closed the one I wanted, Jack. I accidentally closed yours.
Accidentally? No, it's
Yeah.
great. We love it. Ah, there you go.
Okay. So, Celeste, you got Jack involved, and who's the writer that Jack worked with?
His name is Andrew Schnepp.
Okay.
This is his first published work in any regard. When we were talking about headshots and stuff, he was like, I don't have anything. He showed me a picture of him like holding a WWE belt or something. He was so excited to come on board. And I think he even told me, he's like, I never imagined I could be a part of something like this. And for me to be impressive to somebody like My Little Podunk Thing, he's like, oh man, I can't believe this happened to me. And I'm like, I can't believe you're this excited. So it's, he's got a really great attitude. But I don't know how it was working with him, Jack, if you have any feedback on that.
My next question, Jack, was how was this? Well, tell me first, what's the story about?
Well, hopefully, again, not cutting out. I'm getting some weird internet stuff right now. But the story here is different from one that I've typically had to draw in the past. It's a lot more sedate. So the way Andrew set it up was a sort of robotic, human, futurist kind of thing. And it's about a speech that's being delivered at a moment of unity. Like things are being unveiled all together, and we're going to celebrate that moment together. So it's really a lot more pause than I've been able to take in some more action-packed scripts. So this is the main character stepping out onto the stage before a big speech. And Andrew was, as you mentioned, Celeste, newer to writing a script like this, newer to getting things published. And so there was a lot of early back and forth of like, hey, how do you envision this character? And it was really cool to see him kind of come out of his shell, like, all right, what's my role when I'm working with an artist? How much can I kind of guide things without feeling like I'm directing things? What's my role? And so that was really fun to learn together. How do we build the story? And ultimately where we landed was, I think a lot of his inspirations are coming from classics like Mega Man. That was one of his points of reference, and like Gundam, things of this sort of futuristic scientific future where robots and humans are working together, sometimes working not together and other times. And that was really his guidance for how to design characters. And for me, that's really interesting. It's right up my alley in terms of interest as well. And so I wanted to make sure that the story carried through some of that while still feeling soft in the way that the actual action on the page is.
The tenderness of this bottom panel struck me immediately. You managed with these robots to get real human emotions in their expressions, even if the dialogue wasn't there. There's a brotherhood there, fellowship that is powerful. This is a terrific page. I had trouble putting together the ad for tonight's show because Celeste, all the stuff you sent me, there were so many cool pieces of art in it. Jack, this is wonderful. It really just this page captures the spirit of what you're talking about. Let's take a look at what else we've got here. Well, we did that. Let me shrink this a little bit. You see the whole page. Celeste, what can you tell us about this page?
So this is from the story called The Pillar. The artist on that is Larissa Hughes, and the writer is Akira B. Akira is involved in a lot of different projects right now. I've seen their name pop up quite a few times, so they're on the up and coming list. Larissa is local to me. I met them at local conventions. We've been friends for a while. And they were one of the first people I brought on. When Akira submitted the script, some of the cues that in there was like a Miyazaki feel, which I thought brought something really interesting to the anthology, because so my inspiration for the cover was more like almost like those 80s shows where like it would be fantasy but also sci-fi, so like your He-Man, She-Ra kind of realm, and then bringing in that like Miyazaki flavor, where it's a bit whimsical and fantasy, really appealed to me. And this story was about, you know, utopia coming from within a person, as opposed to it being something that's like an external thing that's happening, like you make the utopia you're a part of. And a lot of the stories we chose did have like a surreal element to it, so there was a surreal magical feel to this story. With our main character, you follow the main character through the years. They get older as the story progresses, so that was also fun to watch how the artist approached aging them up and what they're doing. So it was definitely one of my favorites. When I read the script, I felt like I could see it right away in my mind, but at the same time I was like, this is some of the elements I was like, I'm not sure how I would put that to paper though, even though you could picture it in your head. So I was really happy with what Larissa brought to the table there, and I thought it was a really nice story beat.
You know, you said something that really resonated. This idea of utopia coming from within, and all I could think when you said that was that would require such a powerful fount of empathy for it to actually be a utopia. And utopia is such a loaded term too, right? There's this, we talk about utopia and we automatically think, well, like you brought up at the beginning, that couldn't be possible. But for it to work and for it to come from within someone, there would have to be so much empathy and understanding. Jack, do you feel like in your comic empathy was a major factor?
Yeah, there's definitely parts of that come through. In the way that the human society is working alongside the robotic society. I mean, there's a page or two where we walk through these different levels of, you know, family and history and how things get pieced together and how things spread out from one point of, you know, we started something new and we started something with a bond, and now it's sprawled out into these multiple different branches, whether it's families, whether it's changes in society and science and in how we interact with each other. So I think that empathy runs through not just in the stories that are being told, but also just the way that the work is being created. It was really cool to see. And I think the nice thing is some of these stories have their own self-contained element. Like mine ends on this moment of a grand unveiling, and I won't spoil that, but others, like you're seeing on the screen, you know, carry out a little bit differently. You end with, you know, different pathways that you might walk down versus, you know, some of them, like I said, that kind of finish in one central spot and you feel like, all right, I've got this self-contained story. I feel like I got the spirit of where we were going.
That comes across. You listening to what you said made me select this image next. This is another one I put on the ad because, and I had to stack them and kind of make it look like you were fanning through a book because I wanted people to see all of this. Celeste, what can you tell us about this story?
So the artist here is an artist named Beat, and they are actually from Singapore.
Oh.
They have a very heavily Eastern influence on their art. When I looked at their portfolio, they had a comic page that had this beautiful tiger painted on it, and I was just like, I gotta have them in there. And we paired them with Jerna. Jerna Van Voren. She is a Comics Jam person as well, I believe.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So she wrote her story. It was called After the End of the World. And that premise resonated with me because sometimes the utopian can come after, you know, bad things. Like just because something is bad right now means something beautiful isn't going to grow out of it. And that's kind of the central theme here, is that we are telling a story from the perspective of an older who is remembering when things were bad, but living in the present when things are more positive, and enjoying her grandchildren and her children, and the path that it took to get there. So that was the beautiful moment I saw there. And I was really just excited to see what did with the art. Everybody I chose to be a part of the anthology had a very different stylistic approach to art. And I think a lot of times when people think of comic art, they're like, this is how you draw a comic and it's like this. But there's so many other ways to approach, how you're telling a story. And I was just really excited to kind of show off all those different possibilities.
Evan in the chat, our good friend Evan Knapp, has talked about trusting your future self based on what you said. And that's a really interesting concept and way to think about it. I am so taken with this particular image. I actually love the layout of this page, the floating panels into the splash. The art is absolutely tremendous. And Van Warren, right? Van Uren or Warren?
Van Foren.
Van Foren, thank you.
Belgian, I believe. Pretty sure.
Does really incredible stories. Terrific. Let's take a look at what else we've got. We have this story next. What can we... I undid something terrible. What did I do? Ignore that.
I would delete all your history.
I went to settings. There we go.
There you go.
Tell us a little bit about this.
So this story is called The Seas Have Changed, and So Too Have We. It was written by Aaron Hodge, and it's my favorite script. I'm so in love with this story. I'm a little too precious about it, I think. Well, but the artist we chose for it is Tessa Luciart. And they are actually just graduating college right now, or did this past summer. They were talking about, their final projects and finals and stuff like that. So I was really excited to kind of bring them on board, like fresh out of school. But they're also doing a whole bunch of different projects. So I think they're well on their way to a super successful place in the comics industry. When I saw their work, I immediately thought Steven Universe-esque. So I thought that would be fun to bring the anthology. And the story they're exploring is instead of going to the beach for a vacation, you're going to a very heavily wooded forest that is so lush and green and big and old. It's like nothing you would see on the earth right now, which I thought was really fun to kind of explore the surrealness of nature, and having it be a place of rest and recharge and positivity. When life in your future city has got you down, you go to the forest beach and take a little vacation.
I love this image of the way that they're hooked together. It makes me incredibly curious to know the plot of the story. The composition is also gorgeous. That tree that they're entering beyond a giant sequoia, absolutely wonderful. And the feel of the forest. I see what you're saying about Steven Universe. There really is so much going on here with this art, though, that really gets across this bizarre concept that something is afoot and it's become the norm for this world. I really think that's striking and interesting. So finally, I believe this is the last image I have. The stained glass, that third panel. Oh my goodness, I'm completely taken with this. What are we looking at here?
So this artwork is by Yadriel Siniez. They are also a local to me artist. They were one of the people I approached right away to be a part of this. And not only do they do amazing work, they work so fast. It's crazy. Like they kick out some of the craziest illustrations I've ever seen so quickly. And the premise of this story, this was written by Edward Kane. And it's
Love Edward Kane.
Yeah, I ended up with a lot of comics jam people. It was very cool. I love the support from that community. But this story is called Handshake, and the main character is our short-haired gentleman, and he is sneaking into a floating island in the sky to kind of spy on things and see what they've got going on up there. And what he discovers is a peaceful society that he didn't think was possible. The way they interact with each other, he's just taken aback and suddenly realizes that there's an alternative way to be than, I get mine and forget everybody else. Maybe there's a better way forward. And some of the stylistic choices we talked about, because for the script that Edward submitted, it had like a very Western feel. Like when I imagined it in my mind, I imagined our main character having kind of like that desperado like hat, from the old Westerns. So when I talked to Yadriel about it, we talked about bringing in that Western influence and also bringing in indigenous reference because they are indigenous culturally. So that's kind of where we ended up with like the stars for that, cowboy and Western style. And then a lot of the other character design in the story have some more tribal elements to it. But I had the same reaction that you did with seeing the stained glass. It was just so amazing. They designed a starship that was like a shape of a hand that other page that was just so original and amazing. And that's truly the coolest thing about working on this project is all of the art is unreal. And it's why I really hope we can get everything funded because I've never seen a collection like this. I'm super proud of the work everybody did. And I want to honor them as much as possible. And if this is successful, I feel that I can keep doing things like this, keep creating more opportunities to put their work and other people that didn't get selected that still submitted amazing work to be a part of. So I'm just super impressed with what everybody did, and it required very little oversight from me as like an organizer. I just told everybody when the deadlines were, I paired up people with their artists and writers, and everybody seemed to get along really well. There wasn't like any clashes, which can sometimes happen with creative types.
Yeah.
And, a couple people submitted things late, but it wasn't like egregiously so. And everybody, communicated. They were like, hey, this is what's going on. And I just had complete trust in everybody as well. So I knew things were going to get done. I didn't have to sweat it. And basically all I have to do, barring a couple, design things on my end, is hit send once we're funded and we're going to have a complete book.
So you are currently at $3,066. So pretty close to your $4,500 goal. We've got 36 backers and 7 days to go. This is when you do Kickstarters, you know that the first week and the last week are the big weeks. That the middle is the painful morass of desperation and fear, and then it explodes again at the end. So you guys are in this final week, and folks out there, this is the time to grab this.
Yes.
I want to see this made. I'm a backer. I'm excited about this, And I think that one of the things that's so exciting is all that you have to offer. So you see here, you go to, hold on, let me put that in the chat. You go to Kickstarter at this link that I just put in the chat. There it is. PRISM, an anthology of tomorrow. And if you look, we've got some really beautiful, again, I absolutely love this image so much. Beautiful work. This is going to be a nice size book. You can get it digitally, you can get it physically, and you've got so much cool artwork. This is from the story we were just looking at. Yadril, am I getting that name right, the artist?
I believe it's pronounced Yadriel.
Yadril.
When I see them in person, we usually call them Yads, but I don't know if that's like too familiar. But I think their handle everywhere is like Brushstroke 8, so a lot of people refer to them as well.
Okay.
This is from Devin Whitlock's story. He wrote a short story for us, and it's called 1,000 Years and Only Likes. And it was illustrated by Ren Rios, who is a New Jersey-based illustrator. And that little short story is about in a future where basically you just have to do a job for a couple years. And like the harder the job is, the shorter you have to do it for. And then you get to retire. And when you retire, you get to do whatever you want. You know, like you pick like a retirement job, which is kind of the future that most millennials are imagining right now. Is like the job we want. And in that world, these two characters kind of come together and find a common ground and find a friendship that maybe they didn't know was there before. So that's where that image is from.
Devin Whitlock is an incredibly talented writer, and I'm a big fan of his work. And Ren's artwork is so beautiful that I will forgive them for being from New Jersey. I wanted to mention, who are you people? Says Dave Katz. Dave Katz is a dear friend of Fugitive Poems. Has a great story in Containment Breach Volume 4, which is our anthology series. And it's funny, Sal, is listening to you talk about putting artists and writers together and there not being any drama, because we've been doing that as well and have had very little drama. There has been some, which, by the way, is where the title of the show comes from. I don't know, but amazefulness. I love it. All right. So, Jack, you did, and I want to talk about all these tiers, but I want to scroll down because Jack did a beautiful, beautiful alternate cover for Prism. I mean, I have a hard time choosing between these covers. It's not.
I don't think you can get it anymore.
Oh, you can't.
Celeste, is it possible?
Well, anything is possible.
Books. I mean, books got to get made, right? But
there
is it. Yeah.
What we did with Jack's cover is we were hoping that last week it would drive people to be like, I got to have this extra cover to come and maybe donate additionally. If they already have to get the extra cover, or to donate right then and there to get the cover. So we did have a few takers. Basically, if you want to complete the set, you would want to get the regular cover, the holographic cover, and then Jack's cover. So I can turn it back on for a limited time if people so choose.
I missed it. And I'd love that. I'd love to get all the covers. So please.
And I would love that for you.
So we have some votes here. Grammatically problematic, but vote.
Hey, it's just like any Christian script, right? We're good.
Well, Evan, it's one of my former writing students, so that tracks.
It shows.
So that cover was absolutely beautiful. Tell us, we've got the basic tiers, that one would expect, the digital download. You've got the creator sticker pack, the physical copy. What are the tiers you're most excited about? So, by the way, the physical copy of Prism for this beautiful anthology. How many pages is this, Celeste?
I believe we're at 56 final. So I'm still working with a friend of mine who's a designer, making sure everything looks good all together. So that could be like 58, but it's going to be around 56 pages altogether.
All right, and that's $25 for the physical copy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's terrific. For 58 pages of this beautiful book, that's really a terrific deal. So tell me, what are your favorite tiers?
So my favorite tiers are definitely the bigger ones, just because you get like the most stuff for one. And we threw about a really big one, which is like a $1,000 gift. And you get basically everything. And then you also would get 20% off for life for anything else that I put out with what we're calling the Hive Mind Creative Co-op. So you get a permanent 20% off code for everything we release ever again. And then you get an acknowledgement in the book where we shout you out and say, hey, thank you so much for being completely amazing. And that's just my favorite, because I do like the idea of somebody believing in something so much that they'd want to contribute that much and, kind of be a part of the ground floor of everything I hope this grows into. But I also know that, we're all poor. So I know it's not the most realistic tier.
Well, you got one.
I know.
That's tremendous.
It's crazy. It makes me nervous because you can edit your donations afterwards. So kind of like, let's don't have that one.
No, you put out good vibes, you'll get good vibes back. I mean,
you're afraid of the holy crap, what have I done?
I mean,
well, so I woke up on week 2 and suddenly $500 had disappeared off the campaign out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, and I went back through, and this is something for anybody watching that's like, I would like to run my own Kickstarter. So you'll get like 15 messages from people that are like, if you use my marketing company, I'm going to make sure your thing's funded or whatever. And sometimes they will donate something to your campaign to make it look like they're not a bot that's messaging you, and surprise, they're a bot, and they will take back the donation like a week after the fact, and you'll start your day with a little bit of a cry. So I think I have some trauma from that moment of like waking up and being like, where did $500 go? Oh no.
I'm glad you brought that up. We just did Blood Valkyrie in Vegas, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these DMs. Hi, I saw your project. I'm really interested. And the first one that came in, I was like, cool. Now I've run 4 to 5 other Kickstarters and never had this before. So I bid in for a minute. And like, can you tell me more about it? And my first thought was, well, it's all on the freaking page. But fine, if it gets me a sale, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
And you get me a sale. And then they said, hey, who are you using to advertise? I'm like, we got our own thing going on. Check out my friend. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then boom, gets pulled. And then it happened 3 or 4 more times. Obviously, I didn't get as engaged in it. But I saw, I'm like, this is new. All the other Kickstarters we've run, this is a new scam. And my favorite was I started asking them for the links to their marketing team and asking for samples of who they'd helped. And I got the same 3 times. I got the same spreadsheet from 3 different companies of campaigns they had helped. And after a while, I was just doing it for sport. But that roller coaster of, hey, we're up. Whoa, we just dropped, is one of the cruelest things you can do to a Kickstarter. And it is a horrendous feeling. But a great feeling is having Claudio Gerardo here. I'm here. Time to get this comic going, he said. Welcome, Claudio. So we've got this angel investor tier, which I absolutely love the idea of. We also have a Patron of the Arts package. What is that?
So Patron of the Arts is basically you get everything. You get the holographic copy, you get the standard copy, you get the digital download, you get a poster, which is designed by Yadriel, you get the creator sticker pack, all the bells and whistles that we have to offer, and also just the good feeling inside that you super help out the campaign.
Very good. And then we have the Elite Supporter Package, exclusive holographic cover copy of PRISM, with standard copy, and an exclusive poster and creator sticker pack. We've got the limited edition holographic cover, and that takes us to the Ultimate Supporter cover, a whole goodie bag contribution, physical anthology, creator sticker pack, and exclusive PRISM poster. We've got a lot of really, really cool stuff. And hopefully, Celeste will find it in her heart, empathy being a major factor here, to get Jack's cover. Jack, where did your cover come from? Is this connected to the story, or is it just an image?
I mean, most things are just images. So one thing you asked.
This is not a play. Sorry.
Yeah, what her favorite tier was. I have to say, anyone that includes the stickers. One thing that was really cool early on in this was Celeste reached out and asked, "Hey, do people have like character samples, designs, or anything like that they could share for like a sticker pack?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I've had this asked a lot. If you've ever seen any of the other work I've done, people have told me before you should do a whole bunch of stickers. And I was like, "Yeah, fine, I'll get around to it." Never have done it. So if you ever have wanted to have one of my dopey little drawings as a sticker, you can have the first time ever Gregory, the dumb shirt wearing goblin. He is now a sticker that you could have. So just keep that in your mind. You don't have to back at an angel tier, but you got to start at $10. That's the way to go, at least. But anyway, this other one, I was really taken with how much passion Celeste has brought into this. She's underplaying her role in giving people this really safe and cool spot to do their work and share their craft, and also grow and develop together. I mean, you see a lot of anthologies that go out that only want art that looks a certain way, only want stories that sound a certain way, and that's not what's going on here. And so, I've been trying to give back however I can, whether it's reaching out to you, seeing if we can get on and talk about the book, trying to make the project more known and share our work that's out there. Or, if we can, let's throw out another alternative cover, right? Or let's throw out another option for people to get involved, that sort of thing. And so I reached out and said, "Hey, I've got time, I've got bandwidth, I've got an iPad with pens and brushes and all sorts of cool stuff on there. So, let's talk a different cover." And so I put this together as sort of an on the ground view from the story. So the story itself takes place kind of floating in this city above the earth in this protective shield, this layer that's been built over time. And I thought, well, let's take a look from what the ground floor looks like and show this this robotic cyborg being stepping out into the bright, beautiful Technicolor world that's around. And so it was just this really freeing moment of putting something on the page, painting it up, and showing, what could that world look like for even people that aren't there at this, hugely unifying moment. It's still this beautiful, bright, halcyon future. So it is related to the story. It's not a specific element or scene, but it's more of the, what does it look like from the ground level? So I got a chance to share that, and I was really excited. Hopefully there are more people that will decide to back for that and get a chance.
I just realized I didn't think I had it, but yeah. I did have a place. I found it on the Discord. That cover is just gorgeous. With the logo that I love. There's again, Jack is one of the artists who can put so much energy into a still image that I think Celeste had a great choice in having him do the alternate cover. There's an intensity to this. That position of the robot is just absolutely shows that something that matters is going on. There's a tension, but there's also that positivity to it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Celeste, what we've got how many days left? We've got 7 days left. And what do you really want people to know about this project that we haven't talked about? Why should there's a tinge of Bob Ross. I just had palpitations.
One of the best compliments I could get, by the way. I very much appreciate it, Evan.
So I do want to shout Jack out with that alternative cover, because we were just chatting about things, and I was like, yeah, I was hoping to have an alternative cover today, but it didn't end up happening because I was hoping that would drive things. And he's like, oh, I'll just do one, and he churned it out within 24 hours.
Yep,
it's happened before.
I take so long to do anything. I think I've even brought it up in Comics Jam's conversation. I'm like, how long does it take everybody to do a page? Because I'm putting in at least 9 hours every single time. And that makes my job not cost effective at all.
Yeah, your hourly rate is dropping substantially. It helps if you don't like most of the scripts that you're drawing, though. So when I get something from Christian, it's just like, oh, I could just blow through that in like an hour. This is no problem.
I use Jack to bolster my ego. I don't know if that's
and pad the portfolio. Yeah, he's got 400 pages in there. Don't worry about him. The other 395 Jack junk. So whatever.
While we've been talking, I got an image from Jack that I think he just threw together, and it looks terrific.
This is absolutely true. I'm not kidding when I said I deleted the other page because I wanted to stop looking at it. It is a Comic Jam page. I'll just brief diversion there. We're doing the Marvel method. Christian threw a script at me that has mostly premise. It's fine. Just dunking on your writing. And you're like, yeah, couple doing an extreme tango in the middle of a city. And I was like,
traffic.
Yeah, I just want you to know, you do not need to write any dialogue for this because I already have a punchline written on there. You feel free, but there's a punchline I'll show you in a little bit. You'll enjoy it. So
I decided to challenge myself with it because I'm like, I don't know what they'd be talking about. I want to see how Jack draws it, and I'll see what conversation comes from it.
Oh, it's great.
I'm not a huge fan of the Marvel method, Celeste, because I am still at heart a control freak. So the idea of I'm going to give you a basic idea, you do what seems right to you, and I'll make it. No, I panic. But
it's disproportionate labor at the What if the writer had to do less work? What if they had to commit less of their time and their livelihood and spend less time with their family or whatever? What if they could just put in 2 sentences of work and then I could spend 10.5 hours doing it?
Yeah, I intentionally went as vague as I could and figured the artist would, and Jack got it. So there you go.
Great. Yeah.
So this book looks absolutely terrific. And folks, I want you to go over. Let me get back to it. Let's go over to Kickstarter. It is in the chat. Can I put it in there again? I can. There we go. Let's get it back on the screen. This book is called PRISM, an anthology of tomorrow. It is currently on Kickstarter. It is beautiful. It is so well done. The stories are exciting and interesting. The art is tremendous. That cover is incredible. It is exciting. There are a lot of cool ways to back. You can get stickers. A whole lot of people love stickers. The creator sticker pack is only $10. Every dollar helps, especially 1,000 of them. Just throwing that out there. But this book needs to get made. It's got incredible people in it. Jack among them, but also Devin Whitlock and Edward Kane and Ren and so many cool people. I know I'm forgetting some people. It is gorgeousness, as my writing student Evan said.
When there's no good word for it, you just make one up. I like that.
Yeah, well, earlier when Kat said, "Who are these people?" he said, "I don't know, but amazementfulness."
Yeah.
So Celeste, go ahead.
You would ask before, what do I want to share that we haven't shared yet? So if we hit this initial funding goal of $4,500, that money pays everybody. That's just what it's for. It's to pay for the work that's done. And then we're going to open up pre-orders to people that didn't get the book through the Kickstarter. And that will only be for the standard cover, no Jack cover, no holographic cover, just for the standard cover. We'll open up the pre-orders. And once the pre-orders are open, all the profits from that book are going right back to the creator. So I think there's 17 of us all together. So everybody gets, I think it was like 7% of whatever the profits are. That will go to an account, and then quarterly everybody would get a check off of that based on however much we sell. So that's the major thing I wanted to share, is that this is very creator focused and creator first. So even though I am doing my kind of publishing creative co-op thing on the back end, the purpose of that is just to have like a moniker. It's not for me or anybody else to be like, and then I make a bunch of money. It's all going back to the creators. I set the page rate for this. I believe it's $100 per page, and that was 60 to artists, 40 to writers. And I personally feel like that's super, super low. I don't recommend working for that if possible. I would much rather see my artists get paid $125 a page flat. And that's kind of my goal as like an organizer, is to be able to contribute to that eventually. So that's why we're doing the profit sharing margin as well, so I can get everybody closer to what I feel is a fair page rate for, you know, the standard of living right now, the quality of work, and just what we all need to get by. So that was just something I wanted to share about what we're doing.
And that's such a cool thing too. You know, a lot of people, I think, are trying to make their way in comics or find a way to subsidize their hobby or whatever that ends up being. And for many people, that route is get your exposure through anthologies, get out there, you know, get your name out there however you can. And they're, you know, I've been fortunate enough to be in Fugitive Poems, a bunch of other different anthologies, and they all do a great job of promoting their artists and their writers. And to think about being able to do a page rate at all for people that are on their first anthology or whatever is such a huge boost to people, again, who are, I don't know what the youngest person in our book is, but I would guess they're substantially younger than me and still trying to figure out, is comics viable? And I said it before when I was chatting about Pale Moonlight, Christian, comics economically are awful. They're so hard to make. They're expensive. They're time intensive. Usually it pays nothing. And for us to be able to put that to the side and say, you know what, you know, Celeste has us covered. She's figuring it out so that this work is going to get done because the book is a priority, and making this community work is the priority. That is so huge. So I really commend you, Celeste. It's been a great experience with this, and I appreciate you including us all, because it's really been awesome.
I really appreciate that. And like, talking about working for exposure, like I'm almost 40 years old. I've been exposed, you know, I've been exposed to the end of the earth. And when people promise that, I've personally never seen that turn into this beautiful opportunity.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many artists just pack it in and turn to other things. You know, most of us have a day job, and that's fair or whatever, but to see people walk away from this process entirely, whether it's comic arts or any kind of arts, is sad. When I went to art school and we were told, you know, only so many of you will make it. And it was like this cutthroat, you know, super competitive mindset. But what I found, and what helped me be like a healthier person, was realizing there really is room for everyone at the table. There are plenty of stories to tell, plenty of projects to be a part of. And I want as much space for that as possible. I want as many, you know, pictures to look at as I can. And, you know, on a spiritual aspect, I feel like the only things human beings should be doing is like watering flowers or making art. You know, you water your flowers by making sure your family is fed, you know, taking care of your house. Like, that's all the water flowers part. And then making art is just doing something creative. And if you're doing anything else, like, it's a waste of this once in a lifetime opportunity to be alive, you know? So I just kind of pivoted my purpose to kind of doing that myself and making a space for more people to do that in life.
I love it. I love it. And you, everything you just said is PRISM. You are making the world that you want to be the future. So you're just functioning as though that is it, and manifesting it. And I think that's beautiful. You really embody the idea behind this entire anthology, and that's pretty cool.
I will
go ahead.
Let me give a real quick shout out to our friend Luke Henderson, who's doing their best. Just, yeah. What did you miss? Don't worry about it. It's fine. A whole bunch of conversation. We were all complimenting your work, zines, your lovely writing.
A poem for us. I did the art for the poem, and it's like a backdrop image where his poems, or their poems, is just down the front of it. So it's not necessarily, I guess, like cinematic enough that I'd be like, hey, here's the promo image for it. But their poem is actually going to be the first page 1 of the whole thing. And it was a really powerful piece of literature that I was really excited to read. And I was so glad that they chose to share that with us and be a part of this process as well.
Luke is a great poet, and just a phenomenal friend of independent comics and creator. I'm so excited that Luke is in the book. And he is still speaking French, which I can do nothing with.
Doing
2 years.
Kevin Lentz is here too.
I know. I did see Kevin. Apparently, we need to start the show an hour later.
Yeah, it's. I thought this would be after Kevin's bedtime, but the inimitable Kevin Lentz, despite my better efforts to do a really good imitation,
Yeah, well, now that Tom Lynott,
we'll deal with this offline. It's fine.
Now that Tom Lynott has visited him, his bad boy stage has begun, and he's staying up late.
His bad boys. I would love to see Kevin in sort of a studded leather jacket, which I know he has.
Oh yeah,
through a Billy Idol phase. You've seen my face and heard my voice.
He's on this show all the time.
I look like this. I have had this face my entire life. I can't do anything about it.
Jack is practically my co-host at this point.
Yeah. To be fair, this is actually true. I haven't seen our friend James in a while. I think he's mad at me. And I keep foisting myself upon this show. So it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, James and Mark decided that I talk enough for all of the company.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting into the weeds here with trading insults. I want, for context correction, I told Jack that I was going to troll him in French tonight. Got it. He did suggest that this was coming. So, folks, PRISM, Kickstarter, go now. Get this book. Hopefully, keep an eye. Hopefully, in the next, I don't know, I'm just going to say 12 to 24 hours, Cells will make Jack's cover available again. Just throwing that out there. But regardless, you want this book. I am so sold on it. I am so excited about it. Cells, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It is a pleasure to finally meet you. We've been part of conversations on the Comic Jam, but never directly interacted. And it really is wonderful to meet you. And I kind of want to get my wife those Medusa earrings.
I've got. I'm working on a necklace with them too. I don't know if this was live or not, but this is the charm. It's also this image is the sticker that I submitted for our sticker pack with PRISM. So that's my Medusa earring. I have it as a necklace. So yeah.
When you get the set together, shoot me an email or DM me and let me know, because that might be her Halloween present. Silly, oh my Lord, we are now, we should start over from the beginning. Now have a deluge of listeners. Dave from Sillyville is, yeah, you're right, my wife would like that. All right, so Jack, thank you again for being here. All kidding aside, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm really glad, folks. Again, Kickstarter, PRISM, get it now. And while you're there, Get something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Blood Valkyrie in Vegas.
Open
If
for
you
late.
want to have a complete diametrically opposed experience, get PRISM for all your positivity. And Blood
Good
Valkyrie is,
Yeah,
yeah,
just to
for
cut
all
the
your
tension.
Grindhouse
Yeah.
horror.
No, it's good. Yeah.
And I truly believe that Grindhouse horror is a pleasure creator as well, because it's so absurd and so out there that you can't help but have fun with it. So, folks, Blood Valkyrie in Vegas on Kickstarter, PRISM on Kickstarter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Christian DeMatteo, co-founder of Fugitive Poems. We are Fugitive Poems, and we make comics.